Hello, Year 2. I hope you've had a fabulous day. And now it's time to find out what Harry Stevenson is up to. Do you remember we left the story yesterday at the end of the maths lesson where Harry had been nibbling carrots? Miss Gibby had given him some carrots as part of the maths lesson. Hadn't quite worked out how she'd intended. And now he was having a little rest in his carrier because it was playtime. Got a feeling things might not go quite as planned. So let's find out what happens in chapter 7. Don't do it, Harry Stevenson. Harry Stevenson was woken by the sound of footsteps. He lay groggily in the hay at the back of the carrier. The footsteps moved across the classroom, stopped for a bit, and then went back the way they'd come. What was going on? Harry crept to the front of the carrier so he could look out. It was Jack. Just as the boy was leaving the room, he bumped into Miss Gibby. "Is everything all right, Jack?" she asked. It's fine, miss, said Jack as he ducked past her through the door. "I forgot my bag, that's all." Thought Harry, his guinea pig instinct flashing a warning. Something's not quite right here. I can feel it in my whiskers. He knew from Billy that Jack could be naughty. What was he up to? Miss Gibby set to work getting the room ready for the next lesson, art. Harry watched as she put up a long line of wooden easels, then laid out paints, water bowls and mixing palettes. Finally, she placed a pile of blank canvases at the side of the room for the children to choose from. Miss Gibby hummed as she worked. She seemed a lot happier than before. Perhaps Miss Gibby doesn't like maths very much either, thought Harry. Finally, Miss Gibby's work was done and she left the room. It felt very empty and still without any humans around. The only noise came from a tick-tocking clock on the wall. Harry lounged in the hay, keeping a careful eye on Flash's box. He watched for several minutes, but there was no movement or sound. That snake must be asleep, he thought. Harry Stevenson started to feel a little bored and very hungry. He'd eaten all his vegetables and nuggets hours ago. They were supposed to last all day, but Harry wasn't very good at making food last. There must be something else to eat, he thought. He nosed around the carrier, sniffing through the hay for fragments of leftover carrots or nuggets. Nothing. Soon the ticks of the clock were joined by a deeper sound, Harry's growling stomach. Then Harry remembered Miss Gibby's bag. There were carrots in there before, so perhaps there are carrots in there now, reasoned Harry. He closed his eyes, remembering that sweet, tasty crunch. Lovely orange carrots, he thought dreamily. You see him dreaming about the carrots. Harry peeped out to check if the bag was still under Miss Gibby's desk. Yes, there it was. And that was it. Once Harry Stevenson had sniffed out even the merest possibility of a carrot, he couldn't stop himself. Remembering that the door to his carrier was loose, Harry pushed it open and stepped out. He quickly scanned the room. The quickest route to Miss Gibby's bag took him past Flash's box. That was no good. Harry would need to venture across the middle of the classroom to avoid it. Like a tiny ginger ninja, Harry darted silently under the tables, scurrying from school bag to school bag and crouching down each time to hide. Soon he reached the shopping bag and peered in. Yes, there were still a couple of carrots inside. Harry had just settled down to feast on them when he heard the most unusual sound. Sss. Harry looked up but saw nothing strange. He turned back to the carrots, impatient to finish them. Sss. Well, that really was an unusual sound, but not unfamiliar. Now, where have I heard that noise before, pondered Harry, his mind focused mainly on carrots. It was on TV, wasn't it? He thought harder as his carrot fog cleared. Some kind of nature programme, maybe? About jungles, perhaps? With possibly even a reptile or two? Oh dear. Sss. Harry Stevenson looked up in horror, straight into a pair of cold, pale eyes that were coming at him in a slithery, speedy and positively snake-like fashion. Yikes, thought Harry Stevenson as Flash the corn snake shot towards him. Run! Wonder what's going to happen next. Don't know whether corn snakes and guinea pigs are going to be the best of friends. Let's find out tomorrow. See you then. Bye, year two.